To vectorize our signature so that we can then engrave it on the laser engraver, we're going to assume that you have already done your signature on a white sheet of paper, that you've taken a good picture of it, and that you have it on the computer that you can work with. We're going to open up Inkscape, this little icon that looks like so. Sometimes this does take a few extra seconds to open. That time was pretty quick. Let's go ahead and maximize the screen. We're going to go up to File, down to Import, and we're going to locate the picture of our signature. I'm going to use this one right here. Double click on it, and it'll bring up this link or embed image question. We want to embed it. We're going to click OK. What that'll do here in a second is it'll bring that onto the screen. The bigger the picture, the larger the file, the longer it takes. So here's our signature. We want to make sure that it is selected. Right now we have this box around it, so we're good. We're going to go up to the top to Path, down to Trace Bitmap, and click on that. We're going to hit Update, and then OK, and you notice it brings in a little bit different box here. We can grab that and we can drag that off to the side. We're going to click on our original picture and hit Delete. We don't need that anymore, so we want to get rid of it. I'm going to move that back into the center just so it's in the screen. Now, next thing we need to do, or this is vectorized now, but we need to make sure we have just the outlines of our vectors. So we're going to click down here in the lower left where it says Fill, and there's this black bar, and that's going to bring up another box. We want to make sure that the Fill tab is selected. We're going to click on the X. What that does is turn off the fill on the inside. Don't worry that it disappeared because it'll come back in a second. We're going to click on Stroke Paint, and we're going to click on that first box. Now all we have is just the outlines of our signature. Because of pixelation, there was a little bit of spots that it missed here. That's not that big of a deal because we're going to be engraving this small enough that you won't even notice that. One note, we do have something else that showed up here, and that's fine. We can get rid of that when we bring it into Rhino. So now we're going to go to File, Save As. We're going to pick a good place to save it. In this case, I'll save it on the desktop, and I'll call it Signature 1. We need to change the Save As type. We're going to click on that, and we're going to go down to where it says Desktop Cutting Plotter .dxf. A DXF is what we want. Click on that. Hit Save. When this comes up, hit OK. And once that's done, we can exit out of Inkscape. Gives you this warning message. It's okay to click Close without saving. Now we're going to open up Rhino. You have this icon here, or we can go up. We want Rhinoceros 5 64-bit. Double click on that. And when this comes up, we're going to click on New and Small Objects Inches. We need to make sure we're working in inches. And it's going to bring this screen up. We can make it bigger. We're going to double click on the top viewport so that that's all we see. We're only working in 2 dimensions here. And we're going to type Import. We don't need to click anywhere to type. A lot of people want to click up here. We don't have to do that. We can just type, import, hit Enter. Now we want to find that file that we just saved as a DXF. Mine was Signature 1. So I'm going to double click on that. When it brings up the import options, click OK. And there we go. Now we have our signature in here. First thing that we're going to do, though, is we're going to get rid of this extra stuff that we don't need. So just draw a box around it, hit Delete. If you drag from the upper left to the lower right, you have to get everything within there. If you drag from the lower right to the upper left, you just have to get a little bit of that part in the box, and then it will select it. A couple things we need to do to our signature. First thing we're going to do, we're going to hit Control A. That selects everything. We're going to type Join. Hit Enter. While it's still highlighted, we're also going to type Group. What that will do is make it so when we click on the whole, or click on any part of this, it highlights the whole thing for us. Next, we're going to type Rectangle. Hit Enter. We're going to type 0, 3, and then enter. 3, enter, 1, enter. What that did is that made a rectangle that is 1 inch tall and 3 inches wide that's anchored on the X and Y axis. Now I'm going to click on my name up here, and I'm going to type scale and hit enter. Click on one point, click on another point, doesn't matter where, but I'm going to drag it down until it looks like it will fit in the box. Now we'll actually move it into the box just so we can double check, and there's 2 ways we can do that. We can go down here and select gumball, and if so, we get these arrows in this box up here, and then we can use those to drag. Make sure you're dragging the arrows. If you drag the boxes, it scales it funny. And we're going to drop that in. Okay, so that's one way. The other thing we can do, we can click on it. We can type move, click on your signature here, turn off ortho, and then click in the box somewhere, and we've just moved it into the box. To zoom in, we just scroll up on the scroll mouse, or roll up on the scroll mouse. Now that's still a little bigger in the box, so we're going to have to scale it again. So we're going to click scale, drag it down, and we're going to move it again. And gumball is in a weird place. Okay, what I just noticed there is that this should be in the center of the signature, but it's not. So I had another little piece right there that was sticking out. I'm going to type ungroup. I'm going to highlight that and hit delete. Now I'm going to highlight my name again, group. Now it's in the center, so that's where I want it to be. This doesn't have to take up the whole box, but it can. If we have to scale a couple of times, that's fine. There we go. I like that size right there. So a couple more things we need to do. Once we have it to the appropriate size, click on the rectangle and hit delete. We don't want that getting engraved. Next, we need to click on our name, come over here to the Layers tab. Where it says Default, it should be black. We're going to right-click, and we're going to go Change Object Layer. What that does is make sure that we are on the black layer. We also want to make sure the check mark is in front of the default layer and not one of these others. Now with this highlighted, we're going to type hatch, H-A-T-C-H. What that's going to do is fill it in. We're going to click OK. And now our name, we have the outlines and we also have the black fill. At this point, you're going to go File, Save As. Save it as a Rhino 5 3D model, .3dm. Save it on a flash drive, and we'll take it over to the computer and we'll get this set up within the laser cutting software so that we can engrave that.